Hi, this is Samya Zulfikar, and you're watching Social Sciences. Knowledge is justified true belief, and in the previous video, we have discussed the concept of knowledge in detail. Now, we are going to explore two major schools of thoughts to know that what are different point of views of philosophers about knowledge and how their ideas help individuals to better understand the very concept of knowledge itself. Empiricism and rationalism are the two schools of thoughts and branch of epistemology that remains in a constant conflict. We already know that epistemology is a branch of philosophy that help us in studying the nature, sources, and limits of the knowledge. Now we are going to discuss these school of thoughts in detail by highlighting the work of few philosophers who contributed their major role in the formation of these school of thoughts. Empiricists believe that there is no such thing as innate knowledge, and knowledge is derived from experiences. Either it is sensed by the five senses or reasoned by the brain or mind. Major contributors of this school of thought are Locke, Berkeley, and Hume. So they have very different views about metaphysics, but still they have common identity as empiricists. John Locke was against the idea that human beings possesses any kind of innate knowledge. He takes the view that the mind at birth is a tabula rasa, a blank tablet or a new sheet of paper upon which experience is writes. In the same way that light can create images on photographic film. According to Locke, we bring nothing to the process except the basic human ability to apply reason to the information that we gather through our senses. He argues that there is not the slightest empirical evidence to suggest that the minds of infants are other than blank at birth, and adds that this is also true of the minds of the mentally deficient, stating that they have not the least apprehension or thought of them. Locke, therefore, declares that any doctrine supporting the existence of innate ideas must be false. Berkeley's empiricism, on the other hand, was far from extreme and led him to a position known as immaterialist idealism. This means that he was a monoist, believing that there is only one kind of substance in the universe, and an idealist, believing that this single substance is mind or thought rather than matter. He says that all the choir of heaven and furniture of earth, in a word, all those bodies which compose the frame of the world, have not any subsistence without a mind. Rationalists share the view that there is innate knowledge. Innate knowledge means that the mind is born with ideas, knowledge, and that therefore the mind is not a blank slate at birth. In fact, the division between these two groups, empiricists and rationalists, is not as clear cut as is often assumed. The rationalists all accept that in practice our knowledge of the world ultimately stems from our experiences, and most notably from scientific inquiry. Major contributors of rationalism are Plato, Descartes, Leibniz, and Chomsky. The concept that human beings are born with innate ideas and that these can give us knowledge about the nature of the world around us, independently of anything we may experience, date back to the dawn of philosophy. Plato had developed a concept according to which all genuine knowledge is essentially located within us, but that when we die, our souls are reincarnated into new bodies, and the shock of birth causes us to forget it all. Education is therefore not about learning new facts, but about unforgetting. And the educator is not a teacher, but a midwife. However, many later thinkers countered Plato's theory, proposing that all knowledge cannot be innate and that only a limited number of concepts can be. These include the concept of God and also that of a perfect geometric structure such as triangle. Descartes was the first of the modern rationalists. He thought that only knowledge of eternal truth, including the truth of mathematics and the foundation of the science, could be attained by reason alone, while the knowledge of physics required experience of the world. Aided by the scientific method, he argued that reason alone determined knowledge, and that this could be done independently of the senses. On the other hand, Leibniz thinks that the logical principles are innate, but his distinction between truths of reasoning and truths of facts mark an interesting twist in its debate between rationalism and empiricism. His claim, which he makes in most famous work, the Mondology, is that in principle all knowledge can be assessed by rational reflection. However, due to shortcomings in our rational faculties, human beings must also rely on experience as a means of acquiring knowledge. Now let's discuss some conflicting points between both schools of thoughts. Empiricists believe that they are the simpler ones. According to empiricists, the innate knowledge is unobservable and ineffectuous, and it does not do anything. It is all about experiences that formulate the base of our knowledge. Occam's theory of biological evolution also stated that whenever we have a situation where we come across two competing theories that explain the same phenomena, then try to adopt the simpler theory because it is better. So, we can easily say that empiricism is the better theory. Empiricists believe that sense experience is necessary for gaining knowledge. Without observation, human beings are unable to know anything. Empiricists question that how would you know what the color blue look like if you are born blind? The only way to come to have the idea of blue is to experience it with your senses. And another question by empiricists is how can we get the idea of perfect triangularity? Of course, the answer is by drawing it. We used to infer from our experiences with crooked, sensible triangles and use of our imagination to straighten out what is crooked and see what perfect triangularity is. Much of the sciences is founded on empiricist principles and would not have advanced without it. If we base our conclusions about the world on empiricism, we can change our theories and improve upon them and see our mistakes. Rationalists claim that there is innate knowledge that gives us fundamental truth about reality. But even among rationalists, for example, Plato, who believes in reincarnation and forms, and Descartes, who does not believe in either but does believe in a soul, there is disagreement about the nature of reality, the self, etc. How can this be if there is innate knowledge of these things? How their stance are in constant conflict with each other if they believe that knowledge is something which is all about innate? Rationalists state that if we look into mathematics, it seems that mathematical and logical truths are true not because of our five senses but because of reason's ability to connect ideas. 2 plus 2 is equal to 4 is logically right. But if we say that 2 plus 2 is equal to 5, then people might assume that we are not in our senses. How do we get a sense of what is right and what is wrong? Since we cannot experience things like justice, human rights, moral duties, moral good, and evil with our five senses, what can the empiricist ethical theory look like? Hume says morality is based solely on emotions. Locke says experience can provide us with data to show what is morally right and wrong. But does it seem that way to you? I think morality is something which is innate. But you may differ with it. Locke says that our experiences tell us about the nature of reality, but how can we ever check our experience with what reality really is in order to know that? Rationalists do not think we can, so we have to rely on reason. According to empiricism, you can combine things, separate them, and nothing else. With rationalism, we come to experience with the ready-made tools of creativity. For example, Plato said that we are in touch with abstract, immutable realities which provide lots of material with which we can create. According to empiricism, human beings can be controlled and manipulated exceptionally easily. If we are nothing other than what we experience, then we are unable to adopt a different way because we can't challenge whatever we are taught. Rationalism believes that there is an invariable core that refuses to be manipulated, which is what makes us unique. So, these are some of the differences between empiricism and rationalism. I hope that now your concept of empiricism and rationalism is quite clear now. Thanks for watching. And if you have any question regarding this video, you can comment in the section below. If you like this video, please like, share and subscribe to my channel.